Chapter 6. The Dawn of Despair. The High Priestess knelt before the ancient altar, her hands trembling as she chanted with renewed vigor. Around her, priests poured their energy into her, their staves glowing brightly, but the divine light refused to coalesce. The air was thick with desperation, the runes flickering erratically as if mocking their efforts. Sweat streamed down her face as she raised her voice, her chant cracking under the weight of the ritual's failure. "More! Give me more!" she demanded, her gaze locking onto the priests who surrounded her. One by one they faltered, their staves dimming as exhaustion overtook them. The High Priestess slammed her hands onto the altar, her voice hoarse. "Why? Why is this not enough?" She rose abruptly, her movements frantic as she stumbled toward the chamber doors. Throwing them open, she stepped into the open air. The battlefield stretched out before her, illuminated by the faint glow of dawn. The sun had not yet risen, but the promise of light lingered on the horizon. Her voice trembled as she gazed at the pale sky. "Michael, why have you forsaken us?" Captain Rhyne's sword cleaved through an undead soldier, its decayed body collapsing onto the blood-soaked ground. Around him, the Crusaders fought desperately, their faces etched with a mix of determination and fear. The golden glow of the High Priestess's blessing flickered faintly, a reminder of hope that was slipping through their fingers. "Hold the line," Rhyne bellowed, his voice cutting through the chaos. His soldiers rallied, their shields forming a wall as they pushed back the relentless horde. The captain's eyes scanned the battlefield. He saw a young soldier stumble, his sword arm trembling as an undead lunged toward him. Without hesitation, Rhyne charged, tackling the creature to the ground. The soldier's wide eyes met his, gratitude mingling with terror. "Thank you, sir." "Stay strong," Rhyne said, gripping the young man's shoulder. "For Highwall." Rhyne's gaze swept across the battlefield again. He saw Commander Aldric, his silver-plated armor gleaming as he fought alongside the troops. Aldric's blade burned with holy energy, each strike carving through the undead with precision. For a moment, Rhyne allowed himself to hope. Out of the chaos, a shadow moved with unnatural speed. Rhyne felt a sharp, searing pain in his back as a jagged blade pierced his armor. His breath hitched, and his vision blurred as the strength drained from his body. He fell to his knees, his sword slipping from his grasp. Around him, the battlefield seemed to slow, the sounds of battle fading into a distant roar. "Captain!" a voice screamed. Aldric turned, his eyes wide with horror as he saw Rhyne collapse. He charged toward him, cutting through the undead that blocked his path. "No, Captain!" Aldric cried, falling to his knees beside him. His hands trembled as he reached for him. "My battle res is on cooldown. Stay with the light, please." Rhyne's lips moved, but no words came. His gaze drifted upward to the faint light of dawn breaking through the darkened sky. Aldric rose slowly, his bloodied sword dangling from his hand. He looked across the battlefield, his heart sinking as he took in the devastation. Soldiers lay scattered among the fallen undead, their bodies twisted in unnatural angles. The consecrated ground that once held the horde at bay now glowed faintly, its light fading as the undead pushed forward. The cries of the wounded pierced the air, and the soldiers who still stood fought with wavering resolve, their movements sluggish and desperate. Aldric's chest heaved, his breath shallow as despair threatened to overwhelm him. "Is this it?" he murmured, his voice barely audible. "Is this how it ends?" Then, through the haze of despair, a light caught his eye. It blazed brightly, cutting through the gloom like a beacon. It was her. The female paladin strode into the fray, her crimson-trimmed armor glowing with divine light. Her blade moved with impossible grace, slicing through the undead with ease. Each strike sent holy energy rippling through the horde, forcing them back with every swing. Aldric's heart surged with renewed determination. He straightened, his grip tightening on his sword as he watched her fight. "She's not giving up," he muttered, his voice growing stronger, "and neither will we." Turning to his troops, Aldric raised his sword high, its edge gleaming with holy energy. "Soldiers of Highwall, rally to me! The light will not falter!" His voice boomed across the battlefield, cutting through the chaos. The Crusaders lifted their weapons, their cries echoing his. One by one they surged forward, their resolve reignited as they fought with renewed strength.